Otakuology Podcast with Otaku Mike and Jin Graves.
Hello, my chooms, and welcome back to the Otakuology Podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike. With me, as always, is my favorite cyber psycho, Jin, my best buddy in the world / heterosexual life partner. And today we are looking at...
I was waiting for you to get to Graves, and I was like, man, this little parentheses in between Jin and Graves is going to be huge.
Yeah?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought it was funny, big parenthesis on everything you were going to include in there, and you never said Graves. So.
I'm sorry.
No,
But
you're fine.
I
thought you were going to add more. I was like, Jesus.
No, we don't need to add more. But let's get into this. We are talking about Cyberpunk Edgerunners episodes 3 and 4, which I forgot what the names of these episodes are. Oh, it's Smooth Criminal and Lucky You is what the next two episodes are.
Okay.
Did you know, because I didn't know this, did you know all the episode names are based on song titles?
Are they song titles for what soundtrack?
For like just different songs in pop culture.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
It's the same thing with the video game too, apparently.
I did not know that. That's actually pretty cool. So update for everybody out there, so Mike has really been talking about Cyberpunk, which is why we started covering it. But due to that, I also decided, I was going to go ahead because my PS4 started acting up. I got a PS5. And me and Mike have been talking about Cyberpunk 2077. And so hopefully we have a special episode coming out for y'all at some point.
We'll have to see.
We will have to see. But some of the things based off of this, the main song that plays on the radio in the game, I'm waiting to see if it pops up in the show.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let me see, because I actually sound hounded it, Shazammed it. Resistance and Disorder, that's what it's called.
What's that one? Can you sing a little bit for us right now?
No, I can't remember. I just know it starts out and it almost goes like do 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 do. Like when it pops up on the radio when you're driving around, I'm like, oh my god, I think I'm just gonna I'm supposed to stop here in the game and go into this building. I think I'm gonna go around the block a couple times.
The one that's always stuck into my head right now is it's like doom doom doom, city of dreams, doom doom.
I'm gonna have to think if I've heard that one.
Yeah, it's on like the Dredge radio station. It's like City of Dreams. It's like a rat.
As far as I've gotten playing this game or whatever, I still don't know how to change the radio.
You hold down R1.
Really?
Pull up the radio stations. Yeah.
That sounds like child's play.
It's not.
Are you lying to me?
No.
I'm going to get on there later on and be like, I can't do it, Mike. It doesn't work.
Anyways. We pick up from where we left off last time. David
let me ask you one more question.
What?
Have you gotten the iconic jacket yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
That was it, because it goes into Netrunners. So.
Yeah, I got David's jacket in the game.
You sporting it? You representing?
No, I'm wearing Johnny Silverhand's jacket at the moment.
Oh, I'm not there yet. So
yeah. Well, you get a trophy for it, so that's why I'm wearing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But we start off from where we were last time. Lucy and David were in a brain dance. They were on the moon, talking, having their feels. We wake up.
Now I actually know what a brain dance is.
I know. We wake up from that. And we see that there's a bunch of dudes crowded over David, and they're
And
like,
it's a-
"Hey, you got our cyberware. You got our Chrome. We want it back." We also find out that Lucy was the one who set them up. She actually works for the specific gang, these cyberpunks, which David is very surprised that he actually got set up by this beautiful, attractive girl, which I don't know if we
right.
can be too surprised about this.
I agree with that because you don't exactly know that, and I mean they were sharing the chemistry with the whole thing being on the moon.
Yeah.
So that part kind of almost came a little bit as a shock.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, but criminals and stuff like her stealing from the higher
Corpos.
the corpos, yeah.
Yeah.
Stealing from the corpos, anything was kind of on the table. So I guess I can't really be too surprised about that.
Yeah. It's funny that he is surprised about it,
Yeah.
But we meet the main man, Maine, who is this big, hulking, massive a man. And he has his gang. I don't remember if they actually have a name for their gang, but they have a gang. And he's like the main guy. And he was like, hey, you got my Chrome. I bought it already. I bought this Sand Devastator thing. And he's like, it's mine. We're going to get it off of you. We're going to rip it off of you, take you to a ripper doctor. You're not going to survive the operation again. And he's like, yeah, I pay good money for this. And my contact, they basically ghosted me. And, David pipes up and he's like, yeah, that you're talking about Gloria? Because Gloria is the one who had this, and Gloria is my mom. And Maine's like, yeah, Gloria is good people, and but we don't know what happened to her. And David's like, well, she died. And that's where the tone kind of shifts with Maine and his gang, where they're very much combative at this point. It kind of switches to hey, maybe we can use this kid. And David convinces them to basically let him work off his debt that his mom had with Maine. And he's going to use this Sand Devastator to basically help out this group. And I love this scene where they're like, no, he can't do this. Or he's like, yeah, I can do more than two activations of my Chrome. And he's like, I'm going to catch this guy's cigarette. And he does it. And it was pretty cool, I have to say.
That is true, especially when they ask him about how many times he's done it. He's like 8, and then he's like, you care if I do that? I snuff out the guy's cigarette? And he does that, and he's like, I did it 9, no, 10 times. And they're like, what?
And you start to see his nose bleed from the effects of the cyberware and stuff.
Yes.
But some of the members we have in this gang, we have Kiwi, Dorio, and Pilar, which I didn't know his name. He's the weird guy of the group, I feel like.
With the long arms?
With the long arms. He's like their I don't know if he's like a hacker. He's their one of their techie guys.
Yeah.
But he's kind of crazy and off the wall a little bit. He very much fits into this world, I feel like, but he kind of also looks a little out of place with his really, really long arms.
That's true. He really just reminds me of like a Blaze Blue guy or like Street Fighter or something, like somebody weird that would be on there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I mean, his powers are. I mean, not his powers, but just what he does is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to see if I could find that gang name The only thing I can find that's anything on it is that they're just the Edgerunners.
Okay. Maybe they are just Edgerunners.
Yeah, so I don't know anything more on that. But yeah, I had to do a little research on the gang too, which I thought was kind of funny because, as I brought up, having the jacket, the contact that you have is this guy named Falco, and I'm like, well, who is that guy? Like,
yeah,
I'm going through it, like we've talked about Rebecca because her shotgun's in the game, and making like those comparisons of what's in the anime and what's in the game.
Yeah.
So we have Maine, all these people. And I'm like, but I haven't heard of a character named Falco yet. Where is he going to be at? So come to find out, we won't actually see him till like episode 5. So we'll see him the next time we do it. But they are a very motley crew of people.
Very much so.
I think it's pretty funny though, because one of the ones that I think you kind of get confused because it is a woman, but like they look like they could take Maine, which is hilarious.
Are you talking about Dario?
Dario, yes.
Yes.
Because Dario was in there too when they were going to get David.
Yeah. I mean, she's a very like... No, I'm gonna use this word. I've used it before. She's a little like beefy, hefty lady, which we don't discriminate against sizes on the Otakuology Podcast.
I would say, don't quote me on this. I'm just gonna go with this, okay?
Okay.
Because of how she is with Maine. Because remember, he tried to like kiss her, I think, in this episode.
Well, they're an item.
And she punched him in the nose and like broke his nose.
Yeah, she's a very like heavy hitter.
She has been training David how to like punch and use a punching bag and all this other stuff too.
Well, that's later on. That's later on in the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was in this one or not because I know they could do their first mission.
Yeah.
But she is very much. She's very much a dommy mommy, okay?
I mean, she's a cool character. She's a cool cat, I feel like.
I mean,
like, I like her.
Just how she carries herself and everything, like, I would say that she's a very dominant individual. And that's why I said, like, she kind of, like, looks after David and everything, so I would throw her into being, like, a dommy mommy.
She can step on me if she wants to. She can step on me.
We went south, okay?
I'll let her crush me.
South. Oh my
God.
Crush
me with her thunder thighs.
Oh my gosh. That would be like the watermelon thing. Your head would just pop.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But we find out that Maine and his crew are basically contracted to get this data from an Arasaka driver. His name is Maxim. I'm not going to say his last name. His name's Maxim. And they need to get this data from his car, basically. So what they do is they basically go to this fight. They fix a fight, which that whole scene is really cool.
That whole thing is cool, okay?
The whole thing is cool. Like when they fix the fight.
Yeah, the whole plan. It was kind of like watching like Ocean's 11.
Yeah, which I want to know because like we see the smaller fighter and they like go and do like an uppercut and they do an uppercut and like this blade or spike comes out of their hand and kills like their champion. And I was like, is that like a mantis blade that's coming out of their hand, or like is that a different hand weapon? Like what's going on here? Is it something I haven't seen in the game yet? But it was cool. It was cool to see.
You're like, I want one.
They have this cool like X-ray effect on like the arm and stuff, and you see like all the pistons and stuff getting ready to go, and it's just a really cool scene.
Yeah. And I wish they do that a little more with some things because they do some of that, but they also do like the slow motion. I wish they would do more of like the. Have you seen Baki?
Yeah.
Or King and Ashura?
Yeah.
You know how they do that and they talk about the muscles and they like will go inside the body and you can see how the muscles working.
Yeah.
I wish Edgerunners would do a little more of that because I like that aspect when you can see what's going on and when something's like breaking or whatever. But no, I agree with you on this fight. It was amazing.
It was, for such a short scene, it was very well done.
Yes, it is super short. And it goes into him going to the bar and getting a drink.
Which we get him working with the different team members, which is really cool. Like Dario is at the bar, and they go like pop the chip from this driver who they need to get to his employer, which is a guy named Tanaka, who is a high level corp guy. And we don't really know much about Tanaka, if I remember correctly. At this point, I
don't think we really know anything about Tanaka.
But they need to find out where he is, basically.
Yes.
And because the fight got blown up and Maxim lost his bet, he went to go drown his sorrows in some alcohol. And David goes to get the chip and they go to copy it. Luckily, they get a little help from a particular other character who I'm just going to point it out right now. She's actually a part of Maine's crew, which we don't know she is at this point. Her name is...
talking about Rebecca.
Yeah, her name is Rebecca. And she is a very polarizing character, I guess, in the Cyberpunk fandom.
Because, oh my gosh. Yes, I could see a bunch of people being like, oh my god.
Because she is very much... She wears her personality on her sleeve. Like she is, as for all intents and purposes, she is the lolly of the Cyberpunk anime.
Yes.
Which some might say, hey, it wouldn't fit into this. I say it does fit into it because there's so much cybernetics and stuff like that. Like you can basically make yourself look however you want, basically, I feel like.
Right.
And so I feel like Rebecca would work in this world. And it's funny because
I agree.
It's funny because like when this was being made and developed, from what I heard, CD Projekt Red fought tooth and nail. They did not want her in the anime. They were like, no, you can't do this. You got to take her out. And Studio Trigger was like, this is the one thing we want in the anime.
Yeah.
Like, you need to let us have Rebecca. And I was like, damn. Like, if they fought for that.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, shit. You know?
Well, and there's a lot of stuff that comes out of it, too, to my knowledge, that we just haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
You know, and on top of that, like, the other thing is, like, since I started watching this first, relating things back to the original source material of the game, like, I'm still looking for a character that's entirely white like she is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see anybody that's rocking like that.
She has a very, like, striking look.
She does.
You know?
She is very much like that gunbuster character that, you know, probably has like 1,000,001 guns that we don't know where they're hidden on her body, even though she's so freaking petite. And looks like a lolly, and she fits it like to a T. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that her personality fits it like a glove. She is able to basically turn around and like she's sweet. I mean, we see like later on, like when she brings I think she brings him like a beer.
It's like a carbonated drink or like a cola or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's got alcohol in it because she tells him that.
Yeah, and David's like, I don't like carbonated drinks. You know.
Yeah,
and
so she does that though. Like we've seen her like sweet side with the people that she works with, but we also see that really grimacing. Don't be on her bad side.
Don't be on her bad side, and don't be on her perverted side too.
Yes, because like in this instance with. You said Maxim?
Yeah, Maxim.
I mean, she sounds like a complete and utter pervert in
Well,
this
she
scene with
also like
Matsu.
tries to jerk him off while they're walking out. Like she like goes and grabs his junk. Like she goes to grab his dick
Yes.
at one point.
So I had to watch when I watched this my second time,
Uh-huh.
I was like, I didn't see that. And so I saw it then and I was like, how did I miss that part?
You know what's a little funny Easter egg though is on her leg. If you look at her leg,
Yeah.
it says PK Dick, which is a reference to
Peking
Philip
duck?
K. Dick.
What is that?
He's the author of the Blade Runner book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. I was listening to a Cyberpunk podcast.
See, I would have related it to like the Peking duck,
No.
food or something like that.
No.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah. But so after they get the chip, they go into the car. They get in the car, and they're like, "Okay, let's get this data." And I love this scene where basically Lucy is doing her net runnering hacking stuff, and it's basically straight out of the game.
Yes.
Like just watching her doing stuff, and she's like, "Okay, we gotta go." In which they get locked into the car, which it goes horribly wrong. Which I feel like this is very much I feel like this is very much reminiscent of the video game as well, because anything can happen regardless. If you even try to do like the everything perfect, something could go wrong, and you got to think on the fly. Even with like the tabletop game as well,
Yes.
And so things go awry, and they have a high-speed chase through Night City while these two tiger claws are basically trying to get at them and kill them. Because the tiger claws now have a contract to kill them.
I know what those guys are now too.
So they get away from the tiger claws. David, this is his first time driving, which I'm surprised they honestly survived this driving experience, because things go awry really fast.
So let me throw this at you.
Uh-huh.
You think this driving experience was good, or do you think on the gurney was better?
I'm gonna go with the gurney. Because
I mean, that was driving backwards basically with David strapped to the table and minimum getting sick.
I'm gonna have to go with the gurney because they didn't end up in an accident afterwards.
Yeah.
At this, they end up in an accident, and I love this scene. It's such a subtle scene, but like one of the tiger claws ends up following them, and he attacks David. I love watching Lucy fight, because I think it's so cool to watch her fight with the mono wires.
Seeing you're farther than me in the game. Have you seen that in the game?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I have not seen that in the game.
Yeah, you can get them in the game, which is cool. It's a lot. It looks a lot more cooler in the anime when Lucy does it.
Yeah,
because she like wraps them around people and cuts them. In the game, I think it's you just cut them up. I don't know if you can like grab them with it. I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly. But I just love the animation of seeing the guy's like arm just split into several pieces and like blood splatters everywhere.
Yes.
I love it. Like, so like David gets in and like gets into the fight. He like does like a tackle to him. And then Maine like comes up, blocks the Tiger Claw's sword with his car.
Yes.
And then like rolls down his window. I love it. He pulls down his glasses and like just blows the guy up with this rocket arm. And
yes.
I was like,
Maine, I feel like is like a reinterpretation of almost Vash the Stampede. Like, you know, when he's sitting there and he gets out and like he just his arms open up and you're like, what the heck? even better representation. If Heavy Arms was in the Cyberpunk universe, I think he would be Maine.
I can see that probably. I can see that. But what happens after this big fight?
They basically tell David that his debt is paid off, and he can be on his way if he wants or anything else like that. Which one part that we forgot to mention at the front of the episode is where he's told that if he apologizes to the kid that he kicked his ass,
yeah,
he can basically come back with a full ride tuition to honor his mother and get to go to school again.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of this, when he's hanging out with everybody and everything else, that pops back up again for the principal asking him, have you made your apology video? And he virtually tells him, like, hey, you can just, like, fuck off, okay? Like, it's not happening. I found what I need to do, blah, 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 blah. And you do get that really good glimpse, I feel like, at the end of this episode where David lost his mom, but he still gained a family.
Yeah.
So
it's very much a found family. And we also forgot we run into the fixer who is behind Maine's group, Faraday, which he's a corpo fixer.
This guy's creepy.
He's creepy. He's scary. He's even somebody who Maine backs down to.
Yes.
And David's like, oh man, I thought you were the one who calls the shots, Maine. And he's like, I call the shots and I get things done, but he's the one with the money.
Yeah.
So we follow him.
Everybody needs a good fixer.
Yeah, everybody needs a good fixer. And this guy he is something else. And I figure he's going to be probably a big player in this, I'm guessing. Maybe.
Yeah, that's one thing kind of echoed through the video game I'm wondering about, because, as you go through stuff in the game, you kind of like level up, like you find out all these different fixers and you kind of like level up your representation of like what people know you as and stuff. And with the anime, I'm kind of like trying to figure that out. Like, we're not exactly doing that. Like, everybody's kind of happy where they're at. They just want to make sure that they make enough to do like all the stuff and be able to live their lives. It's not really like a lot of growth,
Yeah.
Like, particularly with David, we see growth, but every other character, we don't really see anything.
Well, we'll have to see. We haven't finished it, but we'll have to see.
This is true.
We'll have to see.
So that should move us into episode 4, though.
Episode 4, yes. And episode 4 very much is a really big montage for the first part of it.
Yeah, of all the different missions.
Of all the different missions they go on, we see David basically upgrading his body a little bit. He like gets a new set of synthetic lungs. He keeps pestering Maine.
So the perfect thing for this, I really feel like, is what you and I keep talking about when it's your like skill tree area.
Uh-huh.
Like, the first time I watched this part, I didn't know very much about it, because I hadn't started playing the game yet, and I just kind of was like, But now that you and I have like talked about it a lot on your skill tree, how you build your stuff up, like, you can see it. You can see what everything is. So when he practices with Dario, he's building up his body. When he's running and everything with, is it Julia?
Lucy?
I don't know where I got Julia from. With Lucy, then it's more of like the tech ability. With Maine, it's kind of just that social interaction stuff here and there. Like, when you watch it, Rebecca, it's guns, certain things. Like, you can see it, though. Like, going back and really watching, like, those parts, you're like, okay, yeah, this is what this character, like, would be in the game. Yeah. This is what this character would be like. And you see what people worked on and how, for all intents and purposes, how you and I have talked about almost our characters being well-rounded in the game. Like, I feel like we're pretty close to David characters because of what we've been working on.
Yeah, like David's definitely working on himself because in the previous episode, Maine tells them, "Hey, you need to get some chrome, like get some augmentation because your organic body is not gonna last through this. You need
Right.
something to go off of." So he gets like a new set of lungs, like we said. I think he gets like a new set of hands. I'm not 100% sure on that part yet.
No, he gets the new set of hands for the guy with the long arms.
Okay. Yeah.
What's his face?
Pilar. He gets these
Tyler,
gold
yes.
hands for Pilar because he asked him to go
Yes.
pick them up.
And they are freaking huge.
They're huge. These huge tech hands. Like at one point, Rebecca and Pilar ask him to go do this thing and whatnot, and like David keeps pestering Maine about getting a job. I want to do more. I want to do more.
Which, can we touch on that scene real quick?
Okay.
I freaking love. This is the one I was bringing up before, where Dario broke Maine's nose.
Oh yeah.
Like she punched him, and then they start making out, and then you get the. Yeah, this is David. Maine, is there any missions? And he's like, "You're ruining a moment right now.
You're ruining a moment here, dude. Come on."
Like things are about to happen. What are you doing?
Yeah, things are about to happen. Even at one point, like, David he's sitting there talking to Maine at one point, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm starting to have feelings for Lucy. I don't know if he's like has the same feelings for me. I don't know what to do. This and that. He's very much confiding in Maine, like a father figure almost."
I think those parts are actually probably my favorite that are in this.
Yeah,
because it's like we do stuff and then we come back to that part.
Yeah,
Maine's like teaches him how to drive the car and everything too. Sends him on the mission to go get the hands and all that. Then we found out that Rebecca and what's his face are brother and sister.
Yep.
That's probably the thing that we were talking about earlier. That's probably the wet dream part for a lot of people with Rebecca, was where she came out and she's basically like in her underwear.
I mean, yeah, but who would have thought they were brother and sister? But I mean, hey,
that's true.
Because we didn't get any like inkling that they were.
Yeah, I mean, they don't look alike, anything. But I love that interaction between them too there, because like he's saying something to her or whatever, and she tells him, basically, fuck you, hurry up and get your stuff going. Hey bro, you got any things for David to do? And blah, blah. And then she tips him, and he's like, this is a tip?
Yeah.
Like,
David's not used to having money,
And not that much.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder like how much he's been getting paid for missions. And then he did something easy, and it was like he got a chunk of money. It's like, what?
Very much like in the game too.
Yes,
but
yes, most def, because you could do like a big mission and get paid like a meager sum, and then do like one little thing like, oh, I had to go deliver this medicine to.
I love this scene where like he's talking to Maine at one point. I don't remember exactly what he's talking about, but Maine gives him a gun. And David doesn't use guns. He's very much like almost like anti-gun because of what happened to his mom.
Yeah.
But obviously he needs one just in case, which comes up later on. Like later on, the gang, towards the end of this, they're like, hey, let's go out and grab a drink. Come on, everybody come with us. And we get to like the pivotal moment of this episode.
Yes.
Which, so they're walking back. They're obviously somewhat inebriated. They see this guy. He's standing on, I think he's standing on like a shipping container or something. I don't remember exactly what he's standing on.
No, he's standing on a shipping container.
He looks like he's peeing, and he's just rambling, mumbling to himself. And everybody kind of looks at him, and they kind of go off on their way. But Pilar decides to stop. He's like, hey, man, what's going on? You pissing out here? You're like, you okay? You all there? We kind of started antagonizing him. But he's not actually peeing. He actually has like a hose coming out of his arm. And it looks like he's peeing, but he's actually not.
Oh, I thought he really was peeing.
No, he wasn't peeing. It's like a hose that's like attached to his arm.
Oh, I thought he was really doing that because then Pilar says something back to Maine about, hey, this guy's dick is chrome or something.
Yeah, no, he does say that.
Okay.
But he wasn't actually peeing. It's actually a tube that's coming out of his arm. You can see it in the anime. But this guy is a cyber psycho. And do you want to explain like exactly what cyber psychos are?
Yeah.
All right.
So a cyber psycho, because I know what that is now, is somebody that basically had so many modifications to themselves that the modifications almost end up driving them into a crazy state and taking them over a little bit.
Yeah.
And not that any of that stuff actually like really has sentient stuff, but I think it almost gives you more of a god complex.
Yeah, like nothing can stop you almost.
Yeah, and the other thing I think is like maybe the pain gets so intense that you stop feeling like a human being almost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why like they have to make sure to take their medicine and stuff too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it sends you almost into this like point of, just like pain all around, and you get to the point where it just drives you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
that's kind of the thing that I think, but cyber psychos are also kind of like mass murderers in a way.
Yeah. Like they kind of black out and murder people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we saw the little I almost call it a chrome dance.
The brain dance.
We saw the brain dance like episode 1.
Yeah.
Where David saw from the view of the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we're actually seeing this in real time.
Yeah.
Of what's happening out of all that. And we see like what cyber psychos are basically capable of.
And Pilar unsuspectedly bites the bullet. He dies unsuspectedly.
Yeah, because we see his head get blown off from 3 different angles.
Yeah, we do. Which you think if he didn't mess with them, he would have not died. He would just been able to leave. Because I feel like he like set him off.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I 100% feel that way too. Just because that's kind of Pilar's character. I mean, every time we've seen him, he's been that way.
Yeah.
But we do see real good Rebecca's reaction after all that stuff happens. Like the full team goes into motion, and Rebecca runs up, and I think she like exhausts like 2 or 3 of her guns.
She like goes into berserker mode. I feel like
yes,
like a berserker rage.
So and everybody tries to do their part. You really see all this different stuff trying to figure out whether they can do anything, whether they can save Pilar at all, even if with his head blown off.
Yeah.
All this other stuff. And you see just how powerful a cyber psycho can be, because like it takes the effort of all of them doing it. And it shows you like really like at the drop of a hat, if any of them like fully got chromed out and stuff happened, like they could all basically turn into this. And could the group or the gang actually be able to stop them?
I mean, it very much is a fear, because several times throughout this anime so far, like we see Maine like injecting himself with like medicine and stuff.
Yes.
To not like become a cyber psycho.
That's some of the other things talking about it, where they were sitting there talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
At one point it's David and him, they both roll up their sleeves, and they like, you can tell like they're both doing the drug at the same time. They're like snapping open a cold beer. Yeah. Like that's what and they're oh yeah. And it just, little things like that just make you laugh,
Yeah, no, most definitely. And I love the scene where like is it in this episode where like Maine's like, if I ever become a cyber psycho, take me out, basically. And David's like, okay, but first I want your arms.
Yes.
Is that this
I'm pretty
episode?
sure. I think so, yeah.
I want to say, yeah, which is funny because I picture like him like having these really big Popeye arms because Maine's arms are huge.
Hey, buddy, you just wait till this Easter egg that I accidentally saw. I mean, it's not actually an Easter egg, but it should be coming up in one of the next episodes.
Okay.
You just wait till we see that, and the character gets some kind of upgrade thing that you will not know, and you're going to be like, "What the hell?"
Okay. I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
I'll have to wait and see. But lo and behold, David uses his fast moving ability, and he actually goes up and shoots the guy in the face. Basically, sort of gets his first kill.
Yes.
Like ever. And then Maine comes in and finishes him off. And if I remember correctly, no, that's not where it ends. So they kill the Cyber Psycho. They basically call the cops and they leave. And we get this scene where Lucy and David are together. And Lucy basically, from what we heard in the first or second episode, her dream actually is to go to the moon. We weren't very sure on that at this point, but it is to go to the moon and whatnot. And we still don't know exactly why she wants to go to the moon, but she wants to go to the moon. Yeah. And David's like, I'll fly you to the moon.
Right.
But
I think that's kind of our first strand of seeing if they're going to be a couple or not.
Well, I feel like they are, because in this episode, they actually do kiss. So feelings are reciprocated.
Hey, buddy, I don't know if that's official yet. Is it on Facebook?
I mean, maybe. Who knows? Do they have Facebook in Cyberpunk?
No, they got the internet thing.
They do have the internet thing. But maybe it's Facebook official in Cyberpunk. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. But
that could be a thing, yeah.
Let me know. Tell me, what did you think of these two episodes?
These two episodes I felt were way too good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like they were extraordinarily good because like I had to go back and double check episode 3 because I feel like all the stuff that David's been going through with the group so far is already so far in the past that to go back and really realize like, hey, right at the beginning of episode 3 was when they were going to basically like rip him to pieces from the Ripper Doctor.
Yeah.
Into like who he is now. Like, I mean, it almost feels like this could have been something we were watching and we're 10 episodes in, like with these two episodes, it all happens so fast. I think we're already invested. Everything else, we're waiting for the next episodes, and it really doesn't feel like we've watched 4. It feels like we've watched more than that.
I mean, kind of, yeah, because we do get subtle growth, I feel like.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, so I enjoyed episode 3 more than episode 2 for the most part, but I like the ending of episode 4.
Yes.
But that was like my first watch through because I watched them again. And I was like, I started to pick up on little tiny details of what actually was going on and stuff like that. So I was able to enjoy them more. And I do kind of actually like that we did get this big montage, but it's still it's still technically told a story of David improving himself and stuff like that.
Yes.
We didn't have to have this long-winded like training sequence. It was like maybe like a couple minutes of him improving himself. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go to the hyperbolic time chamber and basically spend 5 episodes in there.
Right. He did get stronger, but we haven't seen more. Like, and if we put things on it, like Maine compared to David, just because they're together all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like what aspects does Maine have that's different? You know, like you could almost see David growing into a main character, and the first thing he got was the spine implant, and now he's got the lungs.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, like, is David technically like that far overpowered? No, not really.
No.
But you can see the potential of how he could get there.
But I liked how like they were coming together and stuff, and like I was kind of wondering like when I first watched this, like how much are these guys gonna be involved in the show? Is it like a one and done type of thing? What's gonna happen? You know, like I was kind of curious. I was still kind of curious, like what's the end goal of this show?
Right?
Because we don't have like a well, I guess maybe finding the corpo guy at this point, but like, you know, what's the overall picture here? You know,
That's true. Because then the other weird thing, if you really think about it, when we record our next episode for this, we will be past the halfway point.
Yeah, that's true. Because there's only 10 episodes.
Yeah. So I mean, our next one is technically our in between episodes to put us right smack dab in the middle.
But I feel.
And like, where's it going to go from there? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like all these characters are likable.
They
like,
are.
None of them are annoying. I feel like giving it 10 episodes will be interesting to see like how much story they cram in and how much development they're given.
Yes.
Because, you know, they really got to have to work their magic, I feel like, to basically like pull off something so compelling, because this anime is really highly regarded.
Yes.
Like I was looking at it, it almost has perfect scores. So
yes.
I'm really looking forward to continuing it. I like how they like it wasn't like it wasn't your typical montage, like I said, you know. It was like or training sequence or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Like it was still informative and like which I don't know if we did like a very good job of explaining, because half the episode was montage.
That's true.
Which threw me off so hard the first time I watched it. And I got taken out of it. And I was like, I wasn't as interested. But when I came back, I was like even more interested. It was a weird way.
And I was in there. Like, I was enjoying it, everything else. I liked kind of the montage setup of, you know, we found out how, like, well he was doing and all this other stuff. And then when we kind of, like, blew past that, and what really made a big impression on me was seeing that, like, playing the game and, like, knowing all this stuff and references and different things like that. So coming back and rewatching it, like knowing what all these things were and kind of seeing it, like how the game would kind of interpret it as, like meant way more to me doing that. But at the same time, I kind of feel like it took out a little bit of the, you know, where's this anime kind of going kind of feel to it.
I mean, because it definitely throws you a curveball.
Yeah,
it definitely throws you a curveball.
So episode 3 and 4 out of 5, what would you rate them?
Like individually or together?
I'd say together.
Together? Yeah. I give it 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed them.
Okay.
I really enjoyed them. They were a lot of fun.
So I don't know how I feel about this, because it makes me feel a little dirty after some of the other shows that we've watched. And like, I feel usually, you know, at least for like the last like 50 shows, you've been like above me on rating stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna have to give it a 5.
Like, I mean, I did enjoy it, but like
I didn't feel like there was anything like I disliked on it at all. I didn't feel like there was anything there like I can gripe about at all.
I mean, the only thing I can gripe about really is that it threw me for a loop when we watched the episode 4.
Okay.
with the whole going into a montage because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Like it pulled the rug out from under me, type of thing. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean I didn't hate it. I was just like, oh, okay, like where are we going? Like I was
Yeah.
kind of trying to figure it out. I still
No,
enjoyed it. I still
I
thoroughly
totally get
enjoyed
that.
this show.
I'm waiting for us to cover 5 and 6
Uh-huh.
to see if it's going to hold that 5 position though.
Okay.
If it's going to come out that way or if it's going to drop down.
That's fair. That's fair.
Cuz I feel like this so far what we've watched it's going to get almost everything for me and you are probably going to be above a 4. Like pretty much top marks, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not. It's going to be different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not like however many episodes of Delicious in Dungeon where we're like that's going to be a 3, you know, or
I have
another
to
show that we've
say,
watched that's been crappy and we were both like half a point. You know,
I have to say, I was very surprised that they killed off Pilar. I thought
I
he was gonna stick around.
I was a little bit too, but I don't know.
Well, which
I don't.
I kind of like that as well
Yeah,
because I feel like in that regards, nobody has the quote plot armor to keep them alive. Technically,
that's true. Well, and a couple things out of that, I feel like you said, no plot armor.
mm-hmm.
2, you know, we don't really have that weird, annoying thing where he's going to try and hit on Lucy at all.
I mean, they're already getting it on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like because we had that at the beginning of one of the episodes where he asked Maine, like, you know, are Pilar and Lucy an item, and he's like, no.
Yeah,
Um,
I think at one point he like kind of like hacks into Pilar because he gets jealous at one point in the episode
maybe.
because Pilar tries to make a move on Lucy.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe. So, I mean, you know, we just have all this different stuff of what it is that's going on.
yeah.
So,
No, I really enjoyed it. I think the animation is really good.
yes.
Like I love the music. I love all the little details they put into this. Are like just it's so detail oriented. Like every background, every computer screen, you know, everything is meticulously detailed.
Yes.
And I'm just like,
Yes.
oh, like the eye candy. I feel like you could definitely rewatch these and find little nuggets.
Yes. Yes. I think that's half the fun of it right now is going through the game and watching the anime and finding, like you said, those little nuggets in the anime for the game and in the game for the anime.
Yeah, yeah.
Like some of the stuff, like you do it and you're like I told you earlier, you know, like I rewatched the thing and the little, like when your phone rings, the little noise that
Mm-hmm.
makes, hearing it in the show, like triggered, like, oh my God, I know what that is, you know,
Yeah,
like,
oh,
so, I mean, it almost kind of seems like a night and day from when I originally watched these and the second time I watched them after playing the game.
yeah,
So,
yeah. No, most definitely. I'm looking forward to continuing this.
yes.
But thank you for listening to everybody who listened. If you would do us a favor, go rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave us some feedback on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify as well. It helps the podcast grow. Share it with your friends. Let us know. Give us some feedback. It's very much appreciated and wanted. Give us some feedback, and we'll get back with you and talk with you about it, and we'll talk about it on the podcast as well.
Also, throw us a bone and tell us something that you would like us to cover on the podcast.
That is true.
As you know, after this one, we only have 3 episodes left of Cyberpunk Edgerunners.
Yeah.
And we may need something else to cover for you guys. So, yeah.
Yeah. Give us a suggestion, you know. We're open to suggestions for stuff to cover or stuff to read, like manga and stuff. Yeah, we will take your suggestions, you know. I think we've had like one suggestion, and somebody was like, "You gotta watch Jujutsu Kaisen," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, I didn't know that was a suggestion.
Yeah.
They
Maybe.
were like, "You gotta watch the movie," and I'm like, "Well, do we need to watch the show first?"
Right. How much are we trying to invest here? Okay.
Yeah, but I was like, "Okay, we'll put it on our list of stuff to watch." But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.